blood is thicker than water, so I'm going for me.
What?
With me a close second.
So how do you cope with? I mean, because I'm sure some people have unfortunately passed away. I'm sure some people have got better. In fact, so how do you manage that in your life, mate?
How do you manage it? I think.
Yeah.
I suppose you have to. I don't know. It's a bit of a makeup of who you are.
Yeah.
I think that has to help. You know what I mean? You have to compartmentalize it a little bit.
Yeah.
Because if you don't break it down, if you can't be on top of a situation when it's an emergency, and you can't sort of you don't come away from it, but you have to stick to what you need, what you know that you got to do.
Yeah.
Say there's a bleed, somebody comes in bleeding, you know what I mean? There's certain things that you know as you're trained as a professional, you need that. You need that. You do that. You forget. It's a person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's always there. But you've got to think, I need to do this.
Yeah.
X, Y, Z. Why? Because coming together, that will help that person.
So it just kind of kicks in.
When the
kind
pressure's gone, then that's when you can sort of relax a bit, and then the TLC part of you comes over, I suppose.
Yeah. So is it like? Because the only thing I can explain it to is if there's if I've been in a situation like if I've been in a car crash like when I was a kid and stuff, and no one was hurt, but you kind of that fight or flight kicks in. What you're saying is your training kicks in, and you just get very not meticulous, but you get right. I need to do this, and that keeps you kind of from going, oh my god, that's a lot of blood. Because that's how I would be. Exactly.
Okay,
cool.
It's I suppose again sort of during surgery, when the dissecting and cutting and things like that, you're near major.
Easy, mate. I'm standing up. If I disappear, mate, then it's because I've massive colour drains.
Again, if something becomes a spurter or bleeds, you don't go run away. Do you? What do you do?
Mate, honestly, it's amazing. Honestly, I mean,
I could tell. There's lots of stories I could tell about sort of my 30 odd years working in theatres, but they're all there'll be similar kind of things. It's when those situations happen, you have to be professional, and that's what you're saying. That shutter comes down because you can get on with what you know what to do, and then once that pressure situation is released, then you can come back to I could refer to it as the TLC side of it.
Yeah. It's like the look I got was, please let me finish this first, because I was like, and I was like, are you up there, mate? What about there? And you were like, yeah, and you were so professional with me because you were like, I got the vibe of Neil, I'll do it. I'm doing this. I was like, I'm going to leave you, mate. I'm going to go over here.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes I do forget my manners. And what was running through my brain at the time was, at the time I had a different lighting kit to what I've got now, and it was only 3 little 1x1 panels, and they weren't very bright. So we had to get them bloody close in that big space to get them to light you guys up.
Yeah.
And it only just about coped. And I was thinking, how the hell can I film from above and not get them in shot? Because I need them really, really close. And I think that was what was going through my mind. But I'm glad it came across that I dealt with it professionally.
Oh, mate, you were amazing. Yeah, and I instantly got that, oh, no, I think I've pushed this too far. But then you look at the shot and you were like, I remember when you did the shot and you were like, look at this. And you showed it me and I was like, man, that's amazing. And you were like, yeah, I like that.
It was. It's good.
Oh, it's good. So my last one, mate, is what is your favourite Blue Nation song and why?
I think Give Me Some Time.
Oh, really? I was nailed on you were going to say Rich Girl.
Oh, I just like the riff. I love the riff in Give Me Some Time. Like, it's big, it's ballsy.
It's just out there, isn't it? It's just
I love it. Like, I do like Rich Girl. I love it when it comes in, and I love the sound of that more kind of jangly like guitar. Yeah. But Give Me Some Time. That riff is just and just listening and watching you play it, obviously, like you just got so into that. Like,
oh mate, was that always instilled in you as a kid? Do you think, to care for other people? I know you said you fell into it, mate, but if there was one person that I could say, yeah, they'd do this job, it's you. Because you've always got time for people. You've also caring, mate. You know, it's like,
oh, thank you.
You're like the quietest one in the dressing room when we play football, but you're like, you give it when you needed to. Do you know what I mean? Or you'd be the one to stick your arm around you and always be. Every person I meet and talk to, I've got friends and family and stuff in the kind of care professions. Probably the best way to put it, or NHS.
Yes.
It all seems you're built from the same rock or mould or stuff like that. And do you find that in your job? Do you find that you're all? Is it a wavelength? Does that make sense, mate? What I'm trying to say, it's like, because do you know what I mean?
I suppose and it suited my personality down to the ground once I'd sort of done the work, and I thought and started to enjoy it and started my interactions with the residents and stuff. I think there are certain traits of your personality that you do need in caring and nursing and things like that. And fortunately for me, I had those traits that seemed to fit like a glove, really, in that respect. Yeah. So I did say I stumbled into it, but I suppose it was the right path for me to stumble into, really.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Apart from being a professional footballer, mate, for the Baggies, I mean, I probably was high up on the list as well. But yeah, no, totally. Yeah, totally. Because my mum is a ridiculously good judge of character, and so were like Jez and Elaine and Ben's parents and Luke and stuff. And I've not ever heard anyone say a bad word about you, not once. Do you know what I mean? And it's like,
it's good to know, mate.
It is. It's nice to know. But then with Lou as well, and I spoke to her, obviously when you introduced me, I was like, you better be all right with my friend Mac, and she's like equally as bloody lovely. I'm like, Jesus Christ, where are these people, man? They're just they make me feel better. It's like, it's amazing. But so what kind of obviously the venues you do for us are probably a lot smaller than what you've done in the past. But what's the benefit of doing a small gig, let's say, like I say 100, 200, and what's the benefit of doing like thousands of people? What's the differences as well you have to go through, buddy?
I love small shows. I think they're still a great thing because you always get a great energy, and people are packed in like sardines, and somebody's forgotten about fire regulations, and
it's a load of amp cases against the fire exit.
Yeah, all of those. You open the fire exit door, and it's just a sea of cases. But there's something to be said about it. Like there's just a great, powerful sort of experience. You're not, as an audio engineer, you're not as in control as much of the sound. So there's quite a lot coming off the stage in the smaller spaces. So you're sort of adding to it and sort of amplifying everything that's there, so it all fits. And the idea, effectively, the idea of an audio engineer is to make sure that everybody in the room has the same experience, so the same sound, the same feeling from the front to the back, side to side, which isn't always possible because physics doesn't always allow us those things. But
I haven't given you enough credit after all these years, mate. I just think thought you put the faders up. I didn't think you were thinking about physics. Jesus. I just was like, oh, Charlie, can you make me sound better? And you do.
A lot of people I work with, they have advanced degrees in physics and.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, mate. Yeah. Is that like sound waves and bounce and stuff? Because I did a sound course once just to kind of get my head around it about how the waves travel and white noise and pink noise and all that kind of.
I think it's something that obviously when you start off with, you might not really see. I think I've picked up a lot of things over the course of my career, but it's something I'm quite into. I think it can only help. You might not be able to control anything about it, especially if you're in a smaller bar sort of environment. They probably haven't got the facilities to do a lot of the processing we would have on a larger show. But then at the same time, it probably doesn't need it either.
Well, the only thing that I have had is my disabilities. I've had I've played gigs, and during a set I actually had a flare up with my ME, which is chronic fatigue syndrome, and I was like, I can't do any more. I'm really, really sorry. And the promoter called me a disappointment and basically was like, I'm not going to pay you and all that. I'm like, I don't care about the money. I just, that's not a very nice thing to say. And I completely was like crying my eyes out. And I was like, you know what? You're going to be put on the the bad list.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't be. But ever since then, it's just kind of been like a wake up call to just, always be true to myself. And if anyone doesn't like that, then bye. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. And I had no idea, but I didn't know that obviously about it. So it's like that. I mean, what's the difference if someone fainted on stage? What if someone passed out? What if someone had low blood sugar and stuff like that, or anything like that? It's like if you can't physically do the gig because of your health. I mean, exactly. to call you that's horrendous. Well, yeah, definitely never work with that promoter again. And off air, tell me exactly who it was, and we won't either. So, but no, people think that people just sit down and literally go, "Ooh, there's a song," and sometimes, that took 2 minutes. Sometimes that does happen. But what I'm really interested in is how you do it, because I always find it slightly different between musician to musician. So, talk me through your writing process for, say, one of your singles last year.
One of the singles, Helping Hand, was completely different to how I usually write songs. I actually sat in front, like how I usually write songs is I'll sit down with an acoustic guitar or my bass guitar and just start playing a melody or something and then figure some lyrics out. I usually do it at the same time, music and the lyrics.
Yeah.
But with Helping Hand, it was just like, I went on Logic, which is the software that I use, and I got a MIDI keyboard. I don't even play keyboard. And then started playing this like little jingle or whatever melody that you, and was like, that's quite cool. And I'm quite influenced by 07, so I was kind of going through that like 07 move kind of thing. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, this will be cool. And then I sent it to Miron, and he was like, did some producing, they went ta-da, and oh my gosh.
Some of my favourite posts that I see obviously on Facebook from you guys is Pete's been shopping again, and it's like, I literally there's just like there's normally a picture of a boot or a room and there's just vinyl. I was like, so what?
We got a few of those rooms.
I know. So how do you run like a record store? Do you have to constantly be on the hunt, guys,
it's the hard bit.
Yeah,
that's the hard bit. It's getting the stock in, because it's second-hand vinyl, so it's collections that people have got tucked away in the loft or the garage or whatever, that they decide for one reason or another, because they're downsizing or because it's Dad's collection and he's gone and whatever, to find somebody to sell it to. So that's the bit that we have to put a lot of effort into, making sure our name is the one that they pick the phone up to. But again, the shop helps with that, because there's a phone number on the front saying we buy records, so and the buses go past. So it's been a lot easier since we moved to Boldmere.
That's good.
To get the collections. But
I love buying collections, because I'm a record collector at heart.
Yeah, he is. The hunter gatherer.
The hunter gatherer, yeah. So hunting. So whenever I get a call for record collection, I'm always, wait, what's that? Thinking, maybe there's one for me amongst the the thousand other ones from the shop. I love doing it. And
it's got a nose for it.
But I'm also, when I go and see people, they can tell when I'm really passionate about it.
Yeah.
And often they'll have like their dad's treasured collection, they say dad's passed on, and sometimes it's heart-wrenching for them to part with it, but they don't play that because they've got nothing to do with it, even though it was their dad's passion and his life. But they can tell from me that I'm really into it, and I really will find good customers and make sure they go to good homes.
Yeah, it's a rehoming service.
Yeah, so their treasured vinyl does go to people. Cause a lot of my customers have just become friends.
Yeah.
And I always find the right records for the right people. And
he knows who likes what, and
I like to do that. I like to move things around, even though every single collection you buy has got Fleetwood Mac rumours in it, or every single one.
I'm generally good.
And to be honest, if you were a bunch of idiots, I wouldn't work with you. I'll tell you that now, because there's no point. It would just be too hard. So I think we're all on the same page, and I think we all kind of like understand where we're trying to get to and what we're trying to do, and et cetera, et cetera. But the most frustrating and worst thing is when people say they'll do something and don't, and when people are supposed to do something, I'll get back to you with an answer on Friday. And then you've got to chase them the following Tuesday. Where's the answer?
Yeah,
That's so frustrating, and in my opinion, unprofessional. If you're going to be in this industry and you put yourself up there as a promoter, an agent, a venue manager, whatever you are, you've got to do it to the best of your ability. And I don't think everybody does that. And maybe it's because I'm just applying my standards on them. But, you know, I can do that because I want to.
It's the music industry as well, isn't it? It's like
it's a bit like
it's so flaky.
Yeah, it's respect as well, though. And if someone messages you, just message him back.
Exactly.
Even if it's a no.
One of the things that winds me up generally, not just about this, it's about when you send something to somebody and they don't reply, and that means no.
Yeah.
Why don't you just reply and say no? You know.
Yeah, we're big boys. We can take this.
Yeah, we can take it. You know. Yeah. But when they don't reply, that is the modern way of saying no, bog off. Just can't be doing with that. I really can't. Fairly honest and open, and that's the way I like to work. But not everybody does that. So.
Yeah.
So with again, pandemic-wise, COVID stuff, because that kind of threw everyone's plans out the water, didn't it? What did it mean for us? And explain to people kind of where we were, what we were doing, and then how you've had to change and move and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So every year we kind of review the previous year. Not totally formally, but, you know, in a chat with the band at the rehearsal area and stuff. And we review the previous year. We look at what we're going to do next year. So you kind of put some plans and ideas and aspirations in place, play with bigger bands and, you know, get somebody to do the shit I do, all that kind of stuff. So we do that. Now, this year gigs stopped almost, well, not almost immediately in March. I ended up with people talking about, can we move it a month? Can we move it 2 months? Oh, we need to move that again. So some gigs have kind of moved 3, 4, 5, 6 times. Festivals are just mostly moved into 2022. Some of them have moved twice now because they thought they might be able to do them. So all I've been doing is moving stuff around in a diary and trying to keep on top of that. The other thing we were planning to do probably earlier in the year was record an EP. We've been looking at various studios and all that kind of stuff. But because you lot can't rehearse, you can't expect to go from no rehearsal straight into recording. You've got to record. You've got to spend some time together. You can't expect to go from no rehearsal straight into gigs. You probably need. It's a bit like the theatre have said. They can't reopen in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
They need 3 months or thereabouts to get back up to speed. And it's exactly the same for you lot. So really, we're still in that kind of moving stuff around. Basically, in terms of what it's done, we've just been sitting on our hands, really. I know that you and Luke and Ben have been talking about writing stuff and, you know, all that kind of stuff in the background you can do remotely. And I know you've been doing the acoustic stuff on a Thursday night. So just keeping in touch with people and putting stuff in social media. But basically, normal band life doesn't exist at the moment. But hopefully, if everybody is sensible and does what they're told and the spike doesn't come back, we might be kind of a bit more freer after June. So the second part of this year might be good. Certainly, I've never known so many gigs confirmed so far away. I mean, 2022 has got lots of gigs in it. That would not have been the case. Now, the good thing is, from a festival point of view, the festival promoters and festival organisers have basically said, right, you couldn't do it this year, but we'll keep you on the list for next year. So they've just moved the whole thing by 1 year or whatever. So that's good. You haven't lost your place in the festivals you were on anyway. So that's good. But it's just marking time sitting on your hands, that's it, really, to be honest. Like everybody, nobody's any different.
If you're caring for someone in a care home, mate, and you get to know them exactly like you said, how do you deal with it when they do kind of pass over? What goes through your head, mate? What do you do?
I think it's a lot easier to deal with if you've done everything you can. If you, like, you know, when footballers say, like, I'll leave it all out on the pitch, and no matter what happens, I know I've given 100%. I just think that as a analogy translates over really well. That if you know you've given it everything you can and done everything you can for somebody, then as upsetting as it can be, Firstly, unfortunately, over time it does get easier, and secondly, it just sort of motivates you to know that as long as I've given it everything I can, I'm not going to feel as bad as. I mean, let's face it, I can't afford to have an off day or have I can't be asked today.
You can't. It's not allowed, is it?
No, you get into trouble quite quick. Sorry, Ethel, I just want to lie in today.
Chalmers, do you reckon you have to have a certain mindset and a certain character about yourself to be in, the work that you're in?
I think to a point, absolutely, but I do bits and bobs on a leadership side as well, and I like to think there's always something that everybody can bring to the table.
Yeah.
And I also I've got this like innate faith in mankind where I genuinely believe nobody gets up and thinks, do you know what, I'm going to do really shit at work today. Nobody deliberately does badly at stuff.
Yeah.
So if I've got someone who's not necessarily as empathetic as someone else, there's still a value they can add somewhere.
But you're getting into pedals as well, I saw one pedal, mate. I'll be honest, it messed with my head. There was that many switches and buttons on it. I loved it. Didn't know what it did, but I thought I want to press all of those and tweak it all.
There's a couple of switches that aren't on it that I want to put on as well.
Really?
Yeah. So I started playing with an op-amp based overdrive.
Nice.
And I made a tube overdrive, and I'd done all this thing to get rid of the compression on it. And because I really wanted that kind of quite jaggy kind of tube overdrive sound on it.
Yeah.
And then I heard the op-amp version. I thought, you know what I could do with putting that back in? I could do with putting that compression back. But I thought, well, I'll have to move something on the front to get that extra switch in.
That's got to go that way. Are you just constantly tinkering then? Is that what it is? You're just thinking, I could do this. Oh no, I think I might do that actually. Is that kind of a window into your soul? He had good hair and could sing a bit, couldn't he?
Yeah, he had a bit of physique, but great frontman, of course. But so no, I wasn't really that sort of blown away by it. Just the build up to it the night before when I was literally freaking out. So that was it. And I thought to myself, if the plane crashes on the way home, it wouldn't really bother me because I've achieved my ultimate goal and I've met my heroes.
You can die happy, can't you?
Wolfie, was Irish Jack with you there?
In Japan?
Yeah.
No. He was in Japan, no.
So I've got an Irish Jack story as well.
And I think everyone's got an Irish Jack story. He's such a colourful character, isn't he?
Yeah. So just to let people know that maybe won't know who Irish Jack is, he's the person that Pete based Jimmy on, isn't it? But he was the face around Shepherd's Bush, wasn't he?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. But when I met him, I used to be in a Who tribute band, and we all went to a Who convention. I think you might have been there.
Substitute Who?
Substitute Who? Yeah, that was it, mate.
Yeah, I remember.
And we went to a Who convention. I think you were there, Wolfie. You must have been there. Roger did a guest spot, and Simon Townsend's band was playing. You know the guy, what were they called when it had Bruce Foxton and the drummer from Big Country?
He's a great friend of mine, Mark. The name of the band was Casbah Club.
That's right, Casbah Club. Yeah. So everything. Well, I'd had a bit to drink, and then I collared Irish Jack. I collared him, and I went up to him and I was like, "You're Irish Jack." Like he's like they're probably. He's folklore, isn't he? He's like a legendary mod. He's a legendary mod. So I was well chuffed to meet him. Turns out we carried on drinking. After the thing had closed, we ended up in the Gold Hawk, having a few beers, and then somehow me and the rest of this Who tribute and Irish Jack ended up at a house party in Shepherd's Bush.
Oh, that's amazing.
I don't know what happened, but and then we ended up getting kicked out. We got kicked out this party.
Nice.
What is your favourite Blue Nation song and why?
I've got
so many. Like, I thought about that, and it was like, can I pinpoint one? It's like, I've got so many nostalgic tracks because of when I first got to see her supporting Casino, and them gigs were just like so epic, weren't they? And I do think that's because they were.
We're not bad now though, Sand. You know, we're all right. We're still okay. It's like.
I know. I was going to go on.
All right. Okay.
So,
Sorry.
Dark Days. I absolutely love Dark Days because it was one of the first tracks that you played, and also I think it's very, very now as well, isn't it? It's like Dark Days are over. That's very now for what we're going through.
Yeah. Totally.
Only one, because the lyrics in that I actually want to get on my wall because the lyrics are just so profound.
See, that's my dad's favourite as well, you know.
I love the lyrics. I think
he loves that one as well. We don't play it live that much now, though.
No,
do we?
It's going to be one of my tattoos. Is like the lyrics for you to write on me to get that tattooed.
I still can't believe you seriously don't want my handwriting on you, Sand. My handwriting is awful.
I kept it from the first one from when you played the gig here.
I know my handwriting is bad though.
Actually, here where I'm sat now, this is where the Christmas tree was.
Oh yeah. Go on, tell people what we did then, because you know
so the set list that I don't know whether can you see the set list. The set list that's there. That's actually where you played.
Oh, is it? Oh.
Yeah, it's actually there in the actual where you sat. I'm sitting now where you sat.
There you go. See?
So you guys, you and Luke played a gig in my house at Christmas. Totally surprised me.
We didn't tell you, did we? And you were giving Chris loads of pelters, weren't you? Because you wanted to go out for the day, and he was keeping you in, wasn't he?
Chris was in trouble. So I come downstairs, and you guys were just sat here with your guitars, and it totally blew my mind. And it's got to be one of my all-time favourite gigs I've ever experienced.
And you got me drunk.
I did get you drunk on Malbec.
You got me drunk on Malbec red wine. I was in the van on the way home. I was like, I'm smashed, guys. And Luke's like, yeah, I'm feeling a bit peaky as well. We had Si with us as well, didn't we? It was just like, oh my God. I don't think I've ever told you this, right? I'm going to tell you now. So before moving to Detroit, I used to go out with a girl. And she lived quite far away from me. And I used to... it was like a 2-hour drive, right? And I used to leave... I think it was late on a Sunday night. Did you do a show on a Sunday night?
Yep, Saturday, Sunday.
Right, Saturday and Sunday night. If I was coming back to Birmingham, right, I used to listen to you on the radio as I was driving. How weird is that? How weird is that? And it literally only came to me the other day.
In the many years we've known each other, I know why you've never told me that.
Oh yeah, because
of the ego.
Didn't you used to phone your nan? Yeah. I remembered it. I literally the day I was like, oh my God, that's Si. I remember that.
Yeah, that was it.
How was that, mate?
Oh man, that's
years
that's got
ago.
to be like 10.
Oh mate, it's about 15. Well, I've been with Mimi Detroit 12 years.
Yeah, it's got to be just I would say.
It's good 15 years ago, that is. How mad's that? I thought about it while doing my research, as you told me to do on you. And I remember laughing at you and finding you really funny. And then I met you and thought, nah, he's an idiot. Yeah, how weird's that? How bad's that for the universe, man? So that's how I first kind of introduced you. And then, I remember that BR&B.